In this video, we're going to talk about choosing a college major. I talk with a lot of different groups of people, from business owners to executives to investors, and the group of people who I find is the most stressed out group is college students. And I'm always shocked by this. College students are so stressed out. And it's so funny because most people look at college students and consider them as having a fairly carefree lifestyle. But from my experience in talking with them, that's not what's going on. They're under incredible amounts of stress. And the reason why they're so stressed out is they're faced with an impossible decision: choosing a college major. And the reason why this choice is so difficult is they're being asked to choose a career path for the rest of their life without the experience that they need to make that decision. So they don't really know what these jobs are going to be like. They don't really know what these industries are going to be like, but we're asking them to make these career choices. Now, in addition to that, there's huge financial consequences. So college is really expensive. And so they're making decisions that are going to cost them a lot of money that they don't necessarily have all the data they need to make those choices. And so college students are really stressed out about this. So here's the central question most people are facing. If you don't know what your dream job is, how do you choose a career? So if you know what your dream job is, that makes this question really easy because you know what direction you're heading. But most people don't know what their dream job is. Most people don't know what career they want. And so what do you do then? If this is you, the first message I want to get across to you is this: it's okay. Relax. It's really great if you're lucky enough to know what your dream job is. But if you don't know, that's okay too. So if you find yourself really stressed out about this, let it go. That stress isn't going to help you at all in this situation. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that this is something you can figure out along the way. And so I'm going to give you some suggestions on how you can do that. So here is my main tip on making it easier to choose a career. Make the question more general and it becomes easier. I think a lot of people are forcing themselves to plan out their entire career, including the exact job they want to land. Don't put that much pressure on yourself. When you're choosing a college major, all you're doing is picking a general direction on where to head. Once most people realize that all they're doing is answering this very general question, a lot of people realize that they do have enough data to make an informed decision here. Even if you're only 18 years old, you still have 18 years of life experience to draw on. You know a lot, and so you should have some general ideas on what areas interest you and what areas don't. So I want to look at some examples a little bit closer here. And your goal is to look at these examples and try to identify which area sparks your interest. So what I've done here is I've laid out 5 general areas that you can focus your education on. And these 5 areas are engineering, medicine, art, business, and law. And most colleges have a lot of different degree programs, but many of them can be rolled up into these kind of 5 general areas. So let's look at them. So when you look at engineering, this is a heavily math-focused area. And so you're dealing with technology, computers, building things, and figuring out how things work. Then you have medicine, and medicine focuses on biology. and living things and figuring out how living things work. And so you have a lot of the sciences in here. You have medicine, of course. You have becoming a doctor. And so medicine is a really interesting area. Then we have art. And this is the area where all those creative degrees fall into. So you have things like music and dance and film and writing and painting and those type of degrees. And so you need to ask yourself, can I see myself living a life in the art world? And the thing you have to remember about these art degrees is that a lot of struggle comes along with these degrees. So you've heard the phrase, struggling artist. Well, that's because artists struggle to create their art. So that's something you have to keep in mind with some of these creative degrees. And then we have business, which is my favorite area. And business is all about money. So if you go into a career in the business world, you're going to be spending your time talking about money. Your money, other people's money. And so if that interests you, that might be a career area you can look into. And finally, I want to talk about law and becoming a lawyer. And in this area, this is a really wide area, but you deal with things like understanding history and philosophy and politics and understanding how laws and society works. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Can you see yourself spending your life exploring one of these 5 areas? When you break down choosing a major into this very simplified choice, most people can identify one of these 5, or at least 2 of the 5. All of these 5 areas are very different directions to head in your life. So a life in the medical world looks a lot different than life in the art world. And at this point, it's also helpful to cross out the things you know you don't like. For instance, if you're the type of person who doesn't like blood and doesn't like needles, well, maybe a career in the medical world is not the right choice for you. So you can probably cross a few of these off the list. You should also be looking if one of these fields holds a special meaning for you. So we all bring our own life story into this decision, and we've all had experiences. And so if you've had an experience related to one of these fields, it might bring some more meaning to this choice. For instance, if you've had experiences with the legal world that bring some more meaning to a career in law, that might make a law degree more attractive. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to look at this decision on a very general, very high level, and that makes the decision easier. And what you're doing is you're just setting a general direction. And what happens is when you start heading down that direction, you're going to get more information. So once you're headed down that direction, you're going to have more opportunities to focus more on more specific areas. So each one of these 5 areas has within it a whole bunch of more specific areas. There's a whole bunch of different majors that you could choose in any one of these 5 areas. And so you're going to be able to make that choice to become more specific. And within each of those areas, there's even more areas that you can focus on. But the point is that you can make that choice along the way as you get more information. So for instance, let's use business. So if you decide you want to explore the business world as your career choice, you choose business and you start taking these business classes and you realize that within business, there's all these smaller categories. So you could go into marketing or you could go into accounting, for instance. And then within those areas are even more areas you can focus on. So for instance, in accounting, you can focus on auditing or you can focus on tax. So all you have to do when you're picking a major is you're picking a general direction to head and you can figure the rest out along the way. So I want to spend some time talking about money because a lot of people let money drive this decision on which major to choose, and I think that's a mistake. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why that is. The first reason is that you can find examples of people working in any of these 5 areas that are multimillionaires. It's really easy to find examples of people who are making tons of money in all of these areas. So you can make money doing anything if you really work at it. So the second reason is that salary information that you're using to help make that decision is no guarantee of salaries in the future. So it's not a really good data set to use. And, I'll use my own experience from this. I did this too, where you sit down and you can get all this data on the internet where you pull it out and it says, okay, this major is going to make this much money and this major is going to make that much money. But the problem with that data is it's no guarantee of what the future is going to hold. So for me, and this is going to age myself because I went to college a long time ago. I went to college before the Great Recession. So then the Great Recession comes along and all of that salary data goes out the window. And I saw a lot of people who ended up not making the salaries they thought they were going to make. So what you want to be careful of is the idea that getting a specific major is going to guarantee you a certain salary in the future, because life doesn't work that way. And I'm not saying that salary information isn't helpful, because it is useful to understand that certain degrees tend to make more money than other degrees. But I think it's more beneficial when you're choosing your life career to choose something that interests you and is meaningful for you. So this is the message of this video. College students, stop stressing out. If you're comfortable with the general direction you are heading, you are going on the right path. So give yourself the permission to figure it out along the way. I feel like a lot of people think about choosing a college major as walking into a room and shutting the door behind themselves and locking them in this room. But that's not what it is at all. You should think of it more as walking through a doorway, and on the other side is endless possibilities to explore. So keep the decision really simple. All you're doing is setting a general direction and walking through that door. If you have found this video helpful in helping you make that decision on choosing a college major, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, click on the subscribe button. I release a new video every week, so come back and check out next week's video.